Guys, welcome to Content is Profit.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Yes, this was a little bit of an impromptu interview, but I think it's well deserved because I'm so curious. And you know, curiosity is what drives our show since like day one. Mm-hmm. And you guys walked into studio a couple months ago, maybe, right? Maybe a month ago or so?
Sure. Yeah,
Maybe
it's a
early
couple months ago,
August.
maybe 6 weeks.
Yes. And you guys are here recording like your first batch of 5 episodes as newish creators, right?
Yes. for
Very
sure.
new creators,
Yes.
I would say.
You guys are both super experienced in your own professions. I was like, when you guys were telling me, it's like, oh my God, so much wisdom. But you guys are going with a unique take on your show. And I was like, oh my God, this is cool. So a lot of the people that listen to the show might be starting out, you know, their creator journey. They're trying to figure out like what to put out there into the world. They might have some ideas of like, you know, based on references, like, hey, I want to do X topic or I want to interview people. And they might be a little bit confused, but you guys took that step forward. And I just saw like 4 episodes being recorded in 2 days, and your energy is so awesome, and you're becoming better and better every single episode. Your energy, Maria, has been a lot better since
good,
episode 1.
good. Yeah,
your
got the
energy
nerves
day one.
out.
Yeah, exactly. Your energy since day 1, you're like, I'm ready. So it's probably her idea, right? Jenny's idea. No?
Gosh, it feels like it was.
It does feel like it was both of us.
It really was.
Yeah.
You know, it's really weird because we tend to feel similarly about so many things. We might have different perspectives. We certainly have different upbringings, different worlds that we come from. But the desire to lead in a specific way, to be curious, empathetic, and we share those values.
Okay.
And as a result, I think we were talking about it, and she might have said something. I was like, I want to do that. And they were like, well, why don't we? Let's just do it. Now
that was a year ago.
I was going to say, that's the thing. So we talk about just doing it. And that's part of like us talking about in our podcast being Brains Gone Bold.
Yeah.
Is because we want to be bolder and we want to talk to others about doing the thing that I don't want to say scares them. Like I'm not going to jump out of an airplane, but being bold and sharing the idea and then doing it. That's the thing.
Yeah.
That's so awesome. You know, I mean, you guys are way ahead. Like it took us 3 years to get a hold of publishing for us. And like back in the day, we were doing short form content for small businesses. I used to run a fitness studio, and we started with them. You know, my brother was the one recording the whole thing, and then we'll prep for the full month. But for ourselves, we were never able to like find a format that we enjoyed. Number one, we're trying to model somebody else, and they don't really understand like the resources that it would take. And these guys had like, you know, 3 editor teams for like one specific platform, and we're like, we can do it all, right?
Well, I think that's where we have a leg up when working with you.
Yes. Absolutely.
tonight.
You're doing it all. We're just sitting here talking.
We just have to have a conversation.
Right. You scurry around doing all the other stuff.
Shout out to FONZI and the team. And thank you for the plug. But like, I think like the decision, right? The speed of decision, because I look at it now and we're like, okay, I think this might be episode 700 or something. Like it's a ton that we've done. And we're like,
that's amazing.
What if like we started 3 years before, right? Like, and you guys, okay, a year, you know, for some people are like trying to make that decision today, right?
Yeah.
So you guys, you know, have your own businesses. And then this is kind of like a combination of these 2 personalities, right?
Yes.
What first motivated, you guys talked about the motivation, but like, what made it like super real where it's like, okay, we're going to go for this? Do you guys have a goal in mind? Like what's the purpose?
You pushed us.
We're like, you got to do it.
It was really exploratory.
Yes.
So we don't live in the same city, and we don't even live in the same state. And so, you know, we talk a lot, and in some cases we're like, you know, people should hear this. This is good. This is fun. Like I would listen to this. But then, so we came here because our biggest thing is we wanted to bridge the sound gap, quite honestly.
Yeah.
When we would talk to each other on Teams and think maybe we could use this, it just sounded like shit. I'm so sorry. It sounded terrible.
You're good.
Okay.
It's fine.
And so I said, next time you come, let's see. I found this, you know, podcasting studio. Let's go. Yeah. And so we made, and then you basically said, come back tomorrow. Let's record. Let's just try it.
Yeah.
Because neither of us came with
You were
any.
very convincing.
Yes.
Yes. But I would say, speaking to the motivation of it, Janine has said she needs an audience. So, but, certainly to help people, number one, feel like they have folks they can relate to.
Yeah.
We have an interesting dynamic where we can find this place of being both relatable and professional at the same time.
Yeah.
And I think it's a place that not a lot of people can get to.
Yeah.
Just to, say it honestly. And so I think when we come together, we laugh a lot.
Mm-hmm.
We also talk about deep topics, things that can be heavy. We talk about professional topics that we deal with at work. But it all comes back to being more relatable to people.
Mm-hmm.
And these are things that we see and deal with every day that a lot of others do as well.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just about the delivery, I think.
Yeah.
And obviously, Janine and I do have some work that we do together, even though we have separate businesses. And so, is there an opportunity for potential clients to see us and how we interact together? And then obviously wanting to work with us from that.
Yeah.
That's not the number one goal, but would of course be lovely if we get to that.
For sure. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, and you mentioned a really good word that I know is one of your favorite words, curiosity.
Mhm.
And you said that's how you guys kind of started this
100%.
curiosity,
Yes,
right?
yes.
And we are by nature both very curious. We ask a lot of questions, not just of each other, but of the people that we're interacting with, of the situation. We're lifelong learners, all of those things. And I think that curiosity, I don't want to say this was a natural next step, but it felt like, what can we do with this?
Mhm.
How do we, I don't want to say expand this. And I'm not joking, and I am joking when I say I need an audience, because I do feel like, we're pretty entertaining. We entertain each other a lot.
We do. Maybe no one else will feel that way, but we do.
Right.
Yeah. I also do feel like there's a creativity aspect to it. So I said to Janine,
It's an outlet.
yes, after we came here, we're both also naturally creative people. So I, on the side, am a writer. Janine is very creative in different ways as well. And I don't think I ever saw that perspective of this until we came in the studio and did a test.
Yeah.
And we came away
Yeah.
from it. And I said to Janine, I felt like myself for the first time in a long time. And I think it was because it got the creative juices flowing,
Yeah.
and so that's an interesting part of it for me.
100%. I think you're like probably a couple of people that refer to that. Obviously, we deal with a lot of people that publish like in the business environment. That's why we have the Business Creator Club and towards that side. But I am a true believer that if you want to sustain content creation today, if you're the face of it, one, that increases obviously trust with anybody that's going to be watching you for a long period of time or listening to you for a long period of time. But at the same time, you as a person have to enjoy the process.
Right.
And if you're not enjoying it, it's going to be a burden. It's not going to be sustainable.
Yes.
And then people on the screen or listening to you, they're going to notice that. You might as well step out, I think. So what you guys mentioned, I think is so important for people that are maybe thinking about doing something like this. Be like, is this truly myself?
Right. And I would say even test it out. I know when we
100%.
came in and did this, you shared stories with us about there were people who had this whole elaborate plan and then maybe learned that this isn't for them. And that's okay too.
100%.
We're early in this. And so I think we'll keep tabs on that as we go along, but it's about the energy is what you're saying.
And the authenticity, right? So they were trying to create something that maybe really wasn't authentic to them. I mean, this is just us. We're not bringing props. We are talking about like the topics, but we're not scripting anything. It is truly and rawly, rightly or wrongly
100%.
us.
Yeah, I love it. We're at, like right now at the time of the recording, we're on day 2 of a challenge that we're running in our Facebook group called Say It and Sell It. And it's very interesting because we're encouraging people to create and we're giving them random prompts every single day as like, hey, this is like the main prompt. What do you want to say about it? And you can write it, you can put a picture, you can do a presentation, whatever you want to do it, but put it out there and we put it in a safe environment, which is a Facebook group. And it's super interesting because a lot of people start finding themselves and start reflecting on their own thoughts. Because what happens is, we see whatever reference and we want to model that. Or maybe, we learn about this topic and we want to do it. Or we're expert in our fields and we're explaining that thing. But perfect. Anybody can, put a teleprompter or read out of a script, and deliver that content.
Right.
But like, do we really truly understand it? Do we really believe in it? Do we really feel it? Right.
Yes.
And I think that's where the connection with the audience happens. Like, I am obsessed with this comedy show called Kill Tony, right? Very polarizing show, I just think it's hilarious. I grew up in a country in Venezuela.
It makes me uncomfortable.
100%.
I don't know anything about it.
Yes.
So.
It will probably make you very uncomfortable with your personality.
I love comedy, and it is, for me, uncomfortable.
It can be super awkward. But the host is so true to himself, that he doesn't care anything else. And he's like, they built this show for, I think, 9 years. It's like the top comedy show. They were banned for like traditional media. Now they have a Netflix special. Yep. They go and fill stadiums. Like, they've gone full circle, and it's like staying true to yourself.
Yes.
My wife cannot watch it either. She's like, she cringes, right?
Yes, but cringe is such a great word for it. It makes me cringe.
100%. But I think there's a lesson there for the creators. Like, okay, can we actually embrace who we truly are? We had this lady, Michelle, and this was a couple of years ago. We went to a mastermind. We were emceeing the mastermind, and she comes. She's part of the mastermind. She's like, "Oh my God, I saw your show with George, who's the guy that's putting the mastermind together. He told me that you guys are the podcast guys. We got to do this, right?" I'm like, "Sure." So we met a couple of weeks later, and we started finding out a little bit more about her. She wasn't ready to invest at the time. Like, that's when we had the agency. We didn't have the studio back then. Agency still happens, but back in production, she didn't have the setup, and we're like, okay, these are the steps to get you there. We chatted again with her a year later in a different event, and we're like, Michelle, what's up? Like, we haven't seen your show. What's happening? Like, tell us. And she's like, oh, guys, like, so much friction and all these things. And she had a brick and mortar business. We're like, let's dive in. So we did a little workshop with her.
Okay.
And we found out, once we start, trying to get a little bit more scientific and be like, what are our resources? Like, do you have the time? Do you have a team that can do this? Like, can you hire us? Like, that's different things. Can you hire a VA? It doesn't matter to us.
Right.
Like, at the end of the day, we want to help you trigger action and move forward. Right. And she's like, she was very limited on those things. And she was about to hire a part-time employee for her brick and mortar. And we found out that she had about 2 hours a week where she was already sitting down and writing. And I'm like, she was trying to switch that to the podcast, but she didn't have the equipment.
Yeah.
She didn't have like the right computer. She had a knowledge gap. Like, she didn't know how to do the thing. She didn't have the time to go research it. Right. And we're like, here are the steps. And she's like, you don't understand. I don't even have the time to go through this. Right. I'm like, I get it. So at the end of the day, she's like, it's just like so hard for me, like, to stay in front of a camera or say this. Right. I'm like, well, let's remove the friction. What are you already doing? She was already journaling. She likes to write. So for her creation method was writing, and she decided to do one blog a week that then she'll send to her email list.
Perfect.
And then what happened, here's the beautiful thing. What happened was she was able to do that. She brought people into the store. Resources went up. She was able to hire this part-time person who loved TikTok. So she was doing like TikTok tutorials, like of the shop, different things in there. More customers came in, they were able to hire a second person. She kept doing her newsletter thing and never launched a show. And that's totally okay. At the end of the day, it's like, what's going to keep you moving forward?
Right. She was authentic to herself.
Absolutely.
And doing what works for her. So I think the message is there are a lot of ways around this, right? And getting to where you want to go.
Yeah.
I think with Janine and I, one of the things that, how we approach life and work together is a lot from that angle, which is what's real for us. Yeah. And we, I think, have a hard time. I know you had asked us, what are some podcasts that you admire so that we can get a sense for the kind of feel that you like and so forth. And I struggle with those kind of questions because, in all honesty, we don't want to be like anyone else.
Yeah, 100%.
We want to be like us. And and that's our approach to the way we work together and everything. So, point is, we agree with you, which is that authenticity and just being who you are is so important.
I think that's a big element that a lot of people don't really experiment until they start trying the things, right?
Yeah.
Because we get so many references. Obviously, we are a production company, so we have to be like, okay, what are your expectations when it comes to looks and feel of it, right? So there's like different levers that we talk about normally is your messaging, right? Like, what are the things that you say that, you guys sharing your stories in your very unique way, right? If we're talking under the lens of like long form content. Then you have the creation method. Okay, how do I actually do that? Do I go to a studio? Do I record at home? Do I do it from my phone? Right? So obviously people are going to have different resources and levers that they can pull.
Right.
So obviously our podcast setup is very different when we go to an event, right? We just take a DJI camera, we have these little mics and we sit anywhere and we just chat, right? And we're okay with that. There's people that they need like a full setup to do that.
Right.
Nothing wrong with that. At the end of the day, you set up whatever standards you want to set.
Whatever works for you.
But for us, our quality of the message over quality of the production always. So if I'm going to be sitting there with an amazing creator in an event and they're telling me a story, I'm like, I think this is going to be super useful for somebody. I'm going to capture it however I need to capture it. And that's my priority, right? So then you have obviously production. How is this how is this show going to be put together? And then obviously distribution, monetization, and how do you run things? So I think a lot of people get caught up in, I don't know any of this. Like they get caught on like how it looks because that's what we see externally, right?
Yes.
And then once we start talking, you know, we're like, oh boy, like I don't even know how to communicate. That's what happened to me. I'm like, it froze. I'm like, my Spanish is not good look. My English is not good looking. What am I talking right now? But it's those reps. So it's like, okay, how do we get in those reps? And at the end of the day, you know, whatever, you know, production creation method you choose, there's going to be an upside, there's going to be a downside. Of course. At the end of the day.
And there's going to be an audience.
100%.
Hopefully, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, there's a certain audience that'll be watching on YouTube. And so how it looks may apply more so to those of us like myself who are listening to audio in the car.
Right, while we're driving.
You know, am I correct in that?
100%. I mean, there's a consumer for every type of content, right? Like we work obviously with a lot of creators that are audio only. Like this studio was actually built for audio only podcasters, right? We came in and we brought video into it. But a lot of the people that get to us is because they find podcasting on YouTube.
Yes.
So that's like the new phase because YouTube is a search engine at the end of the day. So they find those shows there. But then they come here and they don't even ask about they're not even aware of like the type of microphone, of why we have these microphones. Right. They just want to be sitting down in a couch, chatting it up because guess what? That's what they consume. Right.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Which
That's
is
a great point.
Totally okay. Right. At the end of the day.
Yeah.
But podcasting, we got to understand the story or the history of podcasting and why, you know, it's produced the way that it's produced. Now there's a lot to unpack there and like very technical things at the end of the day. But let's say you as a person, I mean, creating content, not only building your business, but creating content is like a self-development on steroids at the end of it. Because you're like, am I okay with like looking this way, saying these things?
Yeah.
Like,
Oh my goodness.
sure.
Yes.
The struggle is real.
and on top of that, we're like, how am I presenting that to the world?
Yes.
Right? We're like, okay, well, I gotta look good. Or like imagine we've had situations where there's a CEO or a CMO that, you know, there's certain expectations in the industry, not themselves, but the industry. They got to keep up with that, right?
Yes.
We had this lady that she runs a tax audit company and they do taxes and business stuff. And she was like, I need to create content to bring people in here. And for her, a big element was the way that she looked because she had to sustain those standards in her industry.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
In my eyes, like personally, Luis, I'm like, I do not care. Be different, right? Like that's me, Luis, the creator talking.
Yes.
But again, there's environment that we cannot control.
We're in that.
We're
in that.
We are absolutely.
How are you managing that?
Yeah, very carefully. So I think that's going to be a learning experience for both of us,
especially as we go public.
Yeah,
and people start consuming what we're putting out. There's very real risk.
Yeah, because we did not go into this. This is not a work podcast.
Right.
You know, this is just a life podcast that occasionally will talk about work issues.
Because it's important to us.
But the reality is, you know, if people start listening to it, it's very likely that, you know, for me, I'm a consultant. So I get businesses who want to be my client.
Yeah.
And it's possible that they will hear about the podcast, or it's possible I will feel the need to tell them about the podcast for transparency reasons.
Yeah.
And some of the things that we talk about may or may not be things that I would typically talk about in a business setting.
Yeah.
And so I am very much wrestling with that. Where is that line to make sure that the risk level to the business is at a level that I'm comfortable with, but also being able to be real?
Yeah. Yeah. So interesting.
So we'll be continually wrestling with that, I think, as we go along.
Yeah.
And for me, it's the same, but a little bit different because, you know, we talk about, and it's not that she's being inauthentic.
Right.
She's considering how this will impact the company.
Yeah.
For me, I work mostly with individual leaders other than in the program that we run. And for me, being authentic is part of my brand.
Yeah.
And part of, I do say sometimes the bold stuff, sometimes, the things that they don't want to hear, but they need to hear in a coaching type situation. And so I'm less concerned from that perspective than she is. However, for our other part of the business that we do together, I'm very concerned because her clients can also be my clients. And so there's that crossover. And so 100%. I really want to protect her brand. And so sometimes I really think about the words that come out of my mouth. And we joke a lot that I have no filter, but I am highly filtered for Janine. Because I don't want to impact Maria's business.
So there's some tension there.
There is. And, but we navigated, I think, really
so
well.
Far,
we're very respectful of one another.
Yeah.
Even though we talk over each other. That's the other thing. We have to tell some clients sometimes, this is how we work.
We're dynamic.
We talk over each other because we've had a client give us that feedback that sometimes you guys talk over each other and we're like, yeah, we do. That's who we are. We feed off of one another and she may say something that sparks something for me or vice versa. And I'm okay with her going, and butting in. And I think she is as well because we've just got, we just feed off of each other. We have some energy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that has been a topic that has been such a differentiator, I think, for us. Because obviously, I remember when we invested in our first mastermind, it was like quit my job. 2 days later, we're in this event and we invested half of the money I had in the bank for the next year to this thing, right? We got. Did you
already have your family?
Luca was just born.
Okay. Oh.
And Katie did not know anything. So the whole story goes, I was working that job and we're trying to start BIZBROS, right? And long hours. And I manage a fitness studio. So we open at 5 a.m. and we close at 10 p.m. So I didn't have to be there the whole day, but it was either really early or really late. And the time that I wasn't there, I was working on this, right?
Yes.
So long hours either way. Katie was in finishing grad school, and Luca was just being born. So stress through the roof for everybody.
For sure.
Do not recommend.
The 50 pounds I have on right now, I gained them then. And so I walk into the house one day and she's like, dude, where's Luis? Right? And I'm like, what do you mean? Dude, I miss you. You're not the positive guy. Something changed, right? And at the time I was supposed to be promoted. They told me I was going to be promoted to this thing. This other guy came from corporate. They gave him the job to him. I was like, we're butting heads like crazy.
Yeah.
Our studio had about 1,000 people. It was the bigger studio in the city. And we're leading. Anyways, big crazy environment. Coaches being divas like they always are, all this crazy.
Coaches being divas. What?
Fitness coaches.
Training coaches.
Personal training coaches. Yes. Not online coaches.
I mean, if the shoe fits.
That's the whole thing in in the boutique fitness, studio world. Yeah. But anyways, by the way, I love all you. You know what? I said it to your face. They know this. But anyways, so I ended up, she goes, hey, if we have money in the bank for at least a year, you're good to go. Go do your thing. And then obviously, she was graduating and then going into her pharmacy job. And then that's fine. So I went on, I got 6 personal loans from 6 different places, collected the money, and we're we're done. And then we quit on a Wednesday. Friday, we were on a plane to Boise, Idaho, and we invested in this event. Half of that money, we're this is the opportunity. And scary.
Yeah, yes. But good for you taking the leap.
Thank you. Well, it's good now.
Right. Yeah.
By the
I'm sure that way. Terrifying.
I told Katie 2 years later, we're babe,
I
have something to confess. Did you ever notice it? And she's like, not really. Can't be mad at that. Okay, perfect. Okay, good. But it's also the belief. But I remember the first meeting that we had in this big investment that we did, and we were it's a group of 50 people, masterminding together and trying to conquer the world. We asked a question because we weren't publishing at the time. We were doing some Facebook Live here and there and trying to be consistent. We're trying to crack it for us. And everybody's do a podcast. You guys will be awesome in a podcast because we just talk through our elbows, right? It'll be fine. We're what is a podcast? We had no idea. And we asked a guy who had a podcast and we're hey, what do you think? One of us should be the attractive character because this topic that we're talking about and run the show. or can we both do it? And his advice, our coach that we pay a ton of money, was, by the way, thank you, and we love him. He knows this too.
All worth it.
All worth it. But his advice was like, you got to pick one attractive character because people relate to one attractive character.
Okay.
What do you mean by attractive character?
Attractive character is when you're creating content, or let's say you're writing emails or selling something, is like that person that is the hero for the audience. So it's like, let's say, let's use as an example. We have a studio. We produce this podcast. The show is like top, X% in the world. People see our story and they be like, wow, like I want to go on that path type deal. So if we share that story, then we become the attractive character, right? So that's used for like sales letter, direct marketing, different things like that, email campaigns. And it's like, okay. So a big example maybe that people are very familiar in the audience is Russell Branson, the founder of ClickFunnels. He has a story, which is a potato gun story. And he shares that story 1,000 times a year. Because that's a story that he went from trying to make it online to then selling a product that sold a ton and changed his life. And then everything came. So he uses that story to change belief. But he is the attractive character, right? So we were talking about that, and we had no attractive character. Like, who is Luis? Who is Fonzie? Like, who are the BIZBROS? Like, we're trying to design that. And on the show, we're like, man, that's a big domino that we had to figure out to start publishing. That's why we thought, and we're like, dude, I don't like that answer. Like, I didn't, like, we both sat down and we're like,
yeah,
that answer sucked. And we're like, we're going to ignore it. And we're like, remember a guy saying, would you guys just pay all this money to like ignore that advice? And we're like, yeah. And,
we know better.
It was probably the best decision that we did for the show because we fed off each other. We're like, it feels like we're going to do the thing and we're going to figure out on the way, but it feels good. And that's literally the one reason that kept us going up to this point.
Yeah.
Putting in the reps. So being authentic and be like, okay, this is how we're going to do it. And then later on, we're like accepting that we didn't have the equipment, accepting that we had to record on a phone, accepting that we had like a little corner in the office. And we're like, we leaned in, Fonzie's English is still horrible. Just keep telling him to do Duolingo, but he can't do it.
It's okay, Fonzie.
I'm throwing you under the bus in this episode.
Fantastic.
But yeah, so that's a little story of authenticity, and obviously there's many more.
I love it. I love it because I think it speaks to what I was saying earlier, which is your willingness to go against the grain and go against advice that you were given because you knew what was right
for you.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe it was a bad decision. Maybe it wasn't. It turned out not to be.
We will never know the other side of like, okay, what if one? But I think it's like, okay, for this to succeed, we have to take action.
Right.
And if we were going to do it by ourselves, I don't think we would have taken action.
Yeah.
And then game over, right? At the end of the day. So it's like, what's going to help you as a creator, like move the needle forward a little bit more and then learn from that and then adapt.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like right now, like Fonzie, is a mythical creature that doesn't show on the show anymore. We don't know.
For today. We'll get it.
Well, you're too nice, Maria. You're too nice.
She is the nice one.
Yeah. Jenny's like, yeah, Fonzie.
I agree with him, Fonzie. Actually, I think you made him up.
I know. He's the attractive character. He's a mythical creature. He shows up now. We had like the kickoff call yesterday for the challenge. And on the emails, there's always Fonzie's signature. Everybody's like, who's Fonzie? Like, where's Fonzie? Because everybody relates it with like the fonts, right?
Yes.
And I'm like, oh yeah, my brother. I'm like, yeah, I promise. Go look episode 200 or something. Like he's there. And then he showed up like 10 minutes remaining of the call with like the baby. I'm like, sorry guys, like I'm late. I'm already Fonzie exists. Yeah. All right. So as we wrap up, like I love your story. I can't wait to see where this goes. I hope you outgrow this studio and then, you build your own and, we continue to work together to some degree. But I'm sure you guys, like with your personality and what you guys have to say, like my words of encouragement is continue. That's only going to attract more of your people. And it might, repel some. And it might be a little scary at first, but it will attract more of your people.
Yeah.
And it's so cool. So like when we first saw that, we were like, oh, it feels good.
Yeah.
But it took us
to be aligned.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
They're like, what do you mean accent, dude? I don't care. Or
absolutely.
What do you mean t-shirt? Like what? Like I'm okay. Right.
Yeah.
So you guys are in the good path. I'm so excited.
It's good to hear that. I mean, it
Yes.
really is. I mean, we might know it, meaning like internally, it feels good. It feels right. She made the comment of she felt like herself in that. I would say the same thing. This feels very natural to have these, like, you don't notice there's a mic sitting in front of me. There's cameras here. It just feels very natural. And it might not be. But we both, when we saw our first episode, we were like, it works. It works.
Yeah, it was so cool. That was such a
And
cool
so
thing.
hearing, again, your story that has a similar organic path, it just felt right. You knew in your heart of hearts, you and Fonzie, that this was the direction to go in. And so I mean, I
Which
feel
allowed
like
us
we're
to be
just,
here.
yes, we've just scratched the surface.
100%. 100%.
So I'm excited about where we're going to be.
Let's go.
go.
Last word of advice, right? Like we have new creators. It could be on the creator side, it could be on the business side. Obviously, you guys are both, business owners. You guys run your own things. So like, what would you, tell them in this journey?
It may sound cliche, but in all honesty, it's so true. It may be scary, but do it anyway. I really think there's so much power in that. It's simple. And, this certainly is scary as hell to me. I don't know about Janine, starting a business, the same thing. But it is so worth it on the other side.
Yeah. So cool.
Yeah. And similarly, I would say trust your gut. Trust your gut. If you feel like, again, we joke and say all the time that Janine needs an audience, trust your gut. Like, I feel like there's a reason why I need an audience. I do love giving advice, but I certainly don't pretend to know everything.
Yeah.
Trust your gut though. If your gut is drawing you to something, there's a reason why. So follow it when you can.
100%. Well, guys, you heard it. Thank you guys so much for this impromptu interview. I hijacked them today. I was like, do not leave.
He did.
We have to talk.
I did. But
He keeps forcing us
I
into
would say the
things.
same thing. That apparently is going to be our track record so far. You forced us twice.
Gently.
Yes.
Legally. Nothing illegal. Please.
You did
please
say the
it.
door was locked.
Disclaimer at the bottom here, like everything was done. I can show proof that we got the emails that approve this. Anyway, guys, if you want to come hang out with the Contents Profit family, go to businesscreator.club. We have all the resources in there. Come hang out. If you're in Jacksonville, Florida, come visit the studio podcast suites. It's me. You're going to find me. We're going to hang out. And how do I do it all? I don't know. I don't sleep. We were talking about that this morning. Anyways, thank you guys so much, and we'll see you in the next episode. Take care.
Thank you.
Thanks.